Hi, I'm Jeannie, and I'm here from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and some of my customers have asked me to do a video for you about how to use double point needles, also known in the industry as DPNs, double point needles. They are needles that somehow scare everybody. I know when I first started knitting, I thought, how does that work? How are you going to keep your work on those needles? And what is the purpose? Well, the purpose of double point needles is to allow you to work a smaller circumference in any kind of a piece. The top of a hat. It's just once your circular needles become too tight because you're reducing by decreasing your stitches, the double points allow you to work a smaller bit. So today I did pre-cast on. And I debated if I should do that or not, but I like to cast on all my stitches onto one double point and then slip them over to the other two. The minimum, most sets come with 5. Some companies are starting to create sets with 6 needles in case you break one or lose one, but most of the double points out there come in sets of 5, and that's you can use 3 to work from, or 4, and then you always have a 5th needle. The thing that I did initially when I first started working with my double points was I was always forgetting to work on from one needle to the next, and I'd end up with 2 needles, and that didn't work at all. So you can see I've got just a basic number of stitches, 2, 4, 6 on each needle. I've just pre-casted them on, like I say. I like to cast them on ahead of time and slip them. So this is the part that gets everybody a little Twitter-pated, and you want to twist them around so all your stitches are going the same direction. If you look close, Chris, can you get a close-up?
Yeah.
If you look close here, you can see this is my outside edge of my work, and then you can see my purl bumps. So that is the inside of my work, in theory. So you want to make sure when you're getting ready to join these all in a circle and go around and around that your work is all pointing the same direction. And you can see, and I'm pretty experienced with double points, but you can see it can be a little tricky with these first few stitches because they're floppy, they don't have a lot of fabric on them to hold them. But you can see that I've pulled them all down going the same direction. I'm crossing my needle with my working yarn and my tail over the next needle. Am I doing okay with my hands?
Yeah.
All right. And you always want your work facing you and the work coming up, going to the back, excuse me. Use your tail to mark the beginning of your round. Take your working yarn and take it to the back before we join in the round. Now, this might actually work as 2 instructional videos, I don't know, but I have a favorite way to join in the round. Some people, you can just start knitting, and that will work, but once in a while that gives me a big gap, and I don't like that gap. So I will take my right hand needle, slip it under the first cast-on stitch on my needle, pull it over to the right hand tip of my needle, take the last cast on stitch, which is coming from the working yarn and it's nice and loose, and slip that over the top of that needle, that stitch, onto the left hand needle. Now don't drop it off. You're really basically just trading one stitch for another stitch, back and forth is all you're doing. Then you take your working yarn and kind of snug that up. You're now joined in the round. You don't have to worry about creating any gaps. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to work across all the way around at least one round. And you can see I'm taking my extra needle. For the purpose of this demonstration, I have 3 working needles, and this is my 4th needle that I work from. Take the stitches from the one needle onto the other. So I'm knitting my first needle, and you notice my extra needles are to the back. I'm always working towards me because it is really easy to go back in the wrong direction, and you just knit normally. Okay, now this becomes the needle. I just worked it on. This becomes the needle that I'm going to work on too. And you can see I have a habit of just adjusting my needles so they're comfortable. It does take practice, and I encourage you not to give up because this is a fabulous technique, and you need to, am I moving too far over?
No, I thought this was the
Okay. It really comes up a lot. So learn it. Don't shy away from it. Learn it. It's double points. So now I'm ready to go around onto the second needle. And to avoid what we call ladders in between each needle, you want to give that first stitch from one needle to the next a little tug, a little extra tug. Kind of like that. Make sure there's no ladders, no gaps, and we work around just like this to our next needle. And you see how we alternate the needles. Each needle becomes the next right hand needle to work onto. So now we're at the last needle. Here's our long tail that is marking the beginning of our round. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to work that first stitch a little extra snug. We don't want to make it too snug, but a little extra snug. And you just work around to the end of your work, and that's it. Whoops, maybe if you can knit. And now I have worked one round with my double point needles. Just like with your regular straight knitting, your working yarn is always going to the back and it's always coming from the right hand needle. That tells you where you begin. So I hope you've learned how to use double points. Give me a call if you need any help, or come on down to the shop. I'll be happy to give you a personal lesson. We'll give it a try. Don't shy away from them. They really are an important tool in knitting. And I'm Jeannie from Jimmy Bean's Wool. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Thunder rumbles on this American summer night. There's kids on the corner stuck in a switchblade fight. Rock and roll bands play for the girls on the beach.